Welcome back to Women Making Moves, where we celebrate the moves that women are making. My name is Amy Pons. I'm a master certified life coach and an energy healer. I'm joined today with Brenda, also known as Maxx, Cumby McGee. Brenda, or Maxx, is founder of Gott Street Blues, a professional model turned union carpenter and steward that's now begun her journey in women's apparel and soon to make waves starting with women's construction wear. As a young girl, Brenda had an interest in construction. In her mother's garden, she created a construction site where she used her brother's red Tonka dump truck to complete her construction vision. By the age of 12, she dreamed of being a model, playing dress up in her mother's clothing and wearing her mother's matching shoes and gloves. Then all throughout high school, she took metal shop, architectural design, and art. No one was surprised when she started her professional modeling career at the age of 19. It wasn't until her 26th year with the construction industry that she retired in 2020 due to the pandemic. Ironically, she found herself back in the modeling game just 1 year before this unexpected occurrence, where she continues working as a senior model. Brenda's career in fashion and construction are now intertwined, allowing her to create a line of clothing for the working woman. This line encompasses fit, fashion, and functionality, offering every woman, no matter the job, comfort and style. Maxx, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I was a little premature saying hi, but how's everything? Nice to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Thanks for coming. You and I both are sleepy. We have poopy dogs.
Yes, those dogs, honey, these fur babies they're a lot of work.
They are my kids, though, and I won't not do it.
Same here. They know mom. They just come get me.
Yeah.
There's an issue. Somebody's pawing at me in the middle of the night. I think it's my husband, and then it's not.
My husband's traveling for business right now, and my pups are both in the bed, and they're still glued to mom. I'm like,
oh, absolutely.
Angels, you have the whole bed.
Gotta touch it when they sleep.
Yeah, it's a pack thing.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the things that we talked about last time, for y'all won't know this, but we tried this one time and it came out garbly, so this is our second pass. One of the things that I was most excited about is that the fashion line that you're creating, I was like, oh, I won't need those. Well, yes, I will, because I garden and I do flowers around the house. So let's maybe start. I know that you're first working on the pants.
Yes.
For your line. So yes. Tell us about when you started Gott Street Blues, the process or the journey creating the first pant, and let's talk dates, let's talk events, let's talk all the things.
Absolutely. So Gott Street actually became a idea my first year of working in construction. And I worked in the trade show industry, so I wasn't out on a construction site that you would drive by. But when you're working in the trade show industry, it's a very demanding, fast-paced, chaotic job. So I needed work clothes, and lo and behold, I couldn't find any. So I ended up doing what most women did in the industry is we went and bought men's clothing. And of course, it didn't fit, very ill-fitting. And when you have on clothes that don't fit you properly, they're too long, they're bagging, or they're too tight here or there, it becomes very dangerous because it's easy for snagging, tripping hazards, and all that stuff. And I went through that. I came down pretty rough on a 16-foot ladder because I had on men's pants that were too long. I actually had on the coveralls. It was cold. It was during the auto show, and I came down that ladder pretty rough, man. I was grabbing with everything I had not to fall on the floor, and did a lot of damage just hanging onto the ladder. But it made me realize I need some clothes. And because I was in the fashion industry so long, I was like, oh, I can make some women's clothing. So it was an idea back in 94, 95. But I did start to think about getting into it, called my best friend up, who I've been friends with since I was 3, and was telling her about it. And she said, well, what are you going to call it? And I said, well, I don't know. What do you think? And she said, why don't you call it Gott Street? And I started laughing because she lived on Gott Street, and it's spelled G-O-T-T. And I said, that's kind of a cool name. I said, what about we put blues behind it? So we put blues behind it. So it became Gott Street Blues. And we just run Gott Street together and then blues. And so that name had been around since about 95. Just never did anything with it. I was going to start, but then I started getting busier at work. And, you know, when your job, you start climbing the ladder and doing whatever. I was always at work, so it just never came to fruition. Fast forward to 2020 and the pandemic. And all of a sudden, the trade show industry was probably one of the first industries to shut down. I mean, we just shut down. We had a show that was going out. Auto show was starting to come in. Is it auto show? No, auto show was going out. Housewares was getting ready to come in, and they shut us down. That was it. It was over. We got a phone call from the companies. Nobody's coming in here, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I was laid off. I still had a mortgage like everybody else. I still had bills I had to pay. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. I was eligible to retire. I had just turned 60 that year. And because of the carpenters union, I was eligible to retire. So I went ahead and took an early retirement so I wouldn't lose my house and everything else. And I looked at my husband. I said, hey, what am I going to do now? I was freaking out. And he said, you're going to start your business. And that's what I did. I went and got the LLC set up. I did some other things, and then I kind of got stuck because there wasn't a lot you could do because you were stuck in the house. So that was an issue. And then I really was kind of confused. How do you start this? What do I do next? I had drawings little drawings that I made up, but I didn't know how to go further. And a friend of mine, her name is Shima Strickland. She is my millennial friend. And I always tell us boomers, make friends with younger people. You really do have good ideas. And it's funny because I've never met her in person. We've only talked on the phone. We started trading during the pandemic. That's how we met. And she happened to have gone to school for fashion. And she said, hey, go find a pattern maker. You don't have to do everything. And I was like, oh, okay. So started looking for a pattern maker and kept running into the Chicago pattern maker. Couldn't find anybody else, but her name was everywhere. And I was like, okay, whoever this chick is. Couldn't pronounce her name at first. And now I found out it's Social, starting with an X. So I contacted her. We set up an appointment to meet. And I was so thoroughly impressed by Social's knowledge of fashion and how to make a pattern and all this stuff. And she's just absolutely amazing. And if anybody is looking for a pattern maker, I would highly suggest her. She's wonderful. So I did go with a shirt and a pant, but I was so focused on this pant because there's so many aspects to it that we just went with the pant first. She was okay with going with the shirt, but I said, let's just focus on this pant. And I'm kind of glad I did because I had to get my manufacturing legs. Man, I thought I knew some things because I was in the industry for so long, and I actually worked on the sales side in the apparel center, helping the woman out that I modeled for. And I really thought I knew some stuff. Met some of the manufacturers, went to New York when I was there and met them and talked and chatted. And I didn't know anything. When it comes down to it, I really didn't know anything. So Social got me a manufacturer. He did the prototype. It was a beautiful pant. But when it came time to do the samples, I wasn't super happy with how they looked. Neither was she. But we had a fit party with a lot of my ex-coworkers. And it was kind of across the board what needed to be revised. We needed to tweak. So we did that. And then the guy ghosted me. So there was a whole, almost a year, I sat there trying to figure out what am I going to do? I mean, I was just lost. And it really upset me that I had put out, oh, we're going to be on the market at this time, blah, 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 blah. You know, I really thought it was a quick, easy process, only to find out it was. So ended up, it took me some time to realize, hey, you're an ex-union member. You're still a retired union member in good standing. You can't go out of the country. You don't want to do that. You want to have it made in the USA. So I had to sit down and do some calculations and realize, okay, you won't make as big of a profit, but you'll make a profit. And as a friend of mine told me, everybody doesn't make great profit. If you make a $3 profit, it's a profit. It may not be what you want, but it's a profit. So I decided to stay here in the state of Illinois with a manufacturer here. And I'm super excited that I did, because the last time we talked, I didn't tell you I was going to see them. I have now seen them. So
I've seen them. Okay, good.
Really excited about it, Amy. It was such a great meeting. We went over the pant with a fine-tooth comb, and it also, in this time, it gave me a chance to learn about different mills. So I've gotten new resources in this time span that I was kind of in this waiting period. And I'm really excited about my suppliers now. I'm excited about the manufacturing because they've helped me with different things that I didn't understand. So it's all a learning process, but I'm just excited to get these pants to market. I think women are really going to like these pants. These are everything that I wanted when I was working and didn't have. And no matter how much I looked for it, I was never going to find it. I mean, I tried some of these companies that had women's clothing, but what I found out was they took the men's sizing, their patterns, and they slapped labels on it for women, and it still didn't fit. We see that in just general fashion. Sometimes we wear a 14, other times we're wearing a 20. We don't know what we're wearing. So yeah. Who knows what, I've got all kinds of sizes in my closet. It just depends on the cut. And I think a lot of women have that issue. And people don't realize the cost of things because my pants aren't going to be cheap. I would love for them to be $60, $50. Not the pants I'm making. I can't do it. And I get this, are they going to be made by a union shop? And my thing is, are you going to pay the union price? I would love to, but are you going to pay that price? Because when I walked away from the industry, I was making 48 and some change an hour. I don't know what a union manufacturing shop for clothing is making. But my thing is, I'm making it here. I am definitely going to take a hit on any profit because I want it made here. Yeah. Because I think the future is manufacturing is going to be coming back to America in droves. I just don't see it being, sustaining with what's going on overseas. And I think people really need to pay attention what's going on in China because we don't get all that information. But if you watch like the BBC, you'll get information that you don't get here. And I am very, very comfortable with taking a hit on a profit to make sure it's made here in America. Plus, I want to have a little bit more control over, if something goes wrong, can I get there to see what's going on? That kind of thing. So yeah, it's not easy. Manufacturing is very expensive. It's an expensive endeavor. But to make something that everybody can wear, it costs. Fast fashion.
Which I'm sure you've also seen based on what you just shared, that it's coming out that a lot of those clothes have high levels of mercury in them.
Yes. Freaks me out. I was like, wow.
So you're bringing back the quality, but reintroducing something brand new that we've never seen. So tell us about the pants and like 3 to 5 things that you're most excited and you can't get anywhere.
What I'm excited about, there's an area on the pant, on the pocket, where you can hang. It'll sound crazy to a lot of people, but you can hang your tape measure. I used to hang my tape measure on any pocket that I could, and it would fall over. It would catch on everything. I'd drop it. So I put a reinforced area where this tape measure can hang and it won't pull over. Then I used to hang my keys. I had 4 offices at work down at McCormick Place and from building to building. And I had scooter keys. I had door keys to the building. I had all these keys, and it was like they'd hang off of my belt loops. I can't tell you how many belt loops I destroyed by having a key catch, yanking me back, ripping the thing off, losing my keys, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I made some tabs that actually are reinforced, sewn into the waistband with D-rings on them that hold your keys. And they're on both sides. So whatever side you prefer. And you can actually hang other things from there.
If I'm gardening, I'll probably put my clippers, garden clippers in there, and maybe...
Well, you're not going to put your garden clippers on the D-ring.
Okay.
But what you're going to do is you may have something that has a loop on it or something that you can flip it and do a quick tie on.
Yes.
And have it hang off your side. But what's nice is on the sides of the legs, there's these welt pockets that are super deep that your largest cell phone can fit in. You know, those Samsung phones that are really big.
Yeah.
That's what we used. That's what we used. And it went all the way in.
Nice.
And it was amazing. So there's these pockets on the side that are just fantastic. I always hated that carpenter pocket. You know, the carpenter jeans, how that pocket came down and kind of cut off.
Yeah.
Size you can put your ruler in, whatever. I can put all kinds of things in these pockets. And there was a lot of times we needed hand tools. I didn't need to have my drill and all that stuff. But, to drop a knife down there, to drop a ruler down there, to drop some hex keys or something down there, I got them. I'm not going to lose them, right? And it is a great pocket for your cell phone. And so you got two of them. And then we made the back pockets bigger. Women's back pockets tend to be real funky and small. And it's like you can get your hand in it, your 4 fingers, and that's it. Well, not these. Because we have women who are like, hey, can you make big back pockets? Because we stick all our hand tools in it. It was always my electrician friends, female friends that did that. And then the other thing that I'm super excited about is the knees. We made a patch to go over the knee with double fabric. And inside the pair of pants is a pocket. So the pants are going to come with a knee pad. And this removable knee pad can go in and out whenever you want to. Yes, you have to pull your pants down to get it in and out. So, it is what it is. But it's made to look kind of fashionable. And the thing is, the pant is cut wide enough to fall over your boot. And I've had several people try on the pant, the sample I had, and they're like, I'd wear these to the club. They're like, I put on some great shoes, a cute t-shirt and a jacket. I could go out to the club in these. And I'm like, what? I said, they're work pants. Yeah, but they're cute. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Are they thicker than like a jean?
They're 12-ounce denim, and they're only 100% cotton. And the reason I started with 12 ounces is because that's mid. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. And if you wear these in the fall or in the winter and it's cold, you will have enough room to put on a layer of thermal underwear, and you will not get bunched up. That was the one thing about the sizing. It was extremely important that the rear end, the hips, the crotch area was not constricting in any way. And what we did in the crotch, what woman doesn't have a pair of jeans at home that has holes in the upper thighs?
I had to throw away my favorite pair of jeans because there were holes in the inner thighs, and I've never found a replacement pair. Of course, they don't sell them anymore.
And you don't want to walk around with these patches on your inner thighs, right?
Well, somebody's going to see something.
So the thing is that what I did, and I did a video and told people, I showed them my jeans. I have tons of them here that just got worn out on the inner thigh, and you cannot stop it from happening, but you can slow it down. So what we did is a double gusseted crotch, brought it down a little longer so where your thighs rub together, it may rub off, but you can clean up that top layer. It's not going to stop it from happening, but what it does is slows down the process so you can wear the jeans longer, which is to me is a big deal, because I had so many pairs that a friend of mine, Marianne Davis, who was a fashion designer, she taught me a lot about fabrics. And she used to take all my jeans that were blown out like that, and she would make purses and skirts and whatever. She just cut them up because there was nothing else I could do with them. But what I did find out, and I want ladies to understand, when you're working in construction clothes, any pants that have elastane, spandex, they break down really fast. They break down from wear, they break down from washing, and you will find you're going through these pants just constantly. So when you're buying say anywhere from a $35 to $55 pair of pants, and they're constantly breaking down and tearing up, that if you pay for a good pair of pants that's going to last a little longer, you're coming out about the same dollar amount. Women actually, and I did it, I spent so much money on jeans, it was ridiculous because they were always blowing out on me. Couldn't hold up for what I was doing every day. When you think about, oh my God, those cost so much, but what are you getting in the quality when you're paying more for a pant, especially a work pant? And so I think the whole knee pad thing is super. Mine are on the inside. There's a lot of pants that are out there. They have them and they push them up from the bottom on the outside. And I don't understand how they stay in, but that's okay. I'm not knocking anybody. Everybody has their thing. But I found these pants. I took a pair of sample pants the other day and tried them out in the yard. They were pretty awesome.
Oh, amazing.
They were awesome. I loved it. It was all this extra that I could put my hand tools in and everything, and not have to, where did I put my little shovel or whatever?
Yeah.
So they were right there with me the whole time. And I'm just excited to get them on the market.
Yeah. It's been such a long journey. And I know that, last time we talked a little bit about how the expectations that can come along with like such excitement and passion for a product to get to market. It's been a journey, of course. And I saw a most recent post from you and I wanted to share because I think it's really important as it relates to taking care of yourself as you're working so hard to get something to market. So you reposted something from your Facebook feed and the question is, what's in your cup? And it's an analogy that is, you are holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along and bumps into you or shakes your arm, making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill the coffee? Because someone bumped into me. Wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had there been tea in the cup, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside the cup is what will spill out. Therefore, when life comes along and shakes you, which will happen, whatever's inside of you will come out. It's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So we have to ask ourselves, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, what spills over? Joy, gratitude, peace, humility, anger, bitterness, victim mentality, quitting tendencies. Life provides the cup. You choose how to fill it. Let's work towards filling our cups with gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, resilience, positivity, kindness, gentleness, and love for others. Yes.
That whole post resonated with me because when I got ghosted, what was in my cup was definitely victimhood, was definitely embarrassment because I just knew these pants would be done and they'll be on the market, and just the feeling of being a failure. All that came out of that cup during that time. So that's why when that post just resonated with me because it's true. And the crazy part is I realize now that I needed that time to learn. I needed to have those months of kind of stewing in it and trying to figure things out and hearing what they had to say. People who are in business, in different types of business. As a friend of mine, wonderful mentor of mine, Jean-Paul Thomas, he's a tech guy, and he always told me, he said, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. He said, and you just hit the wall. And I'm like, he said, now you're going to stop running. You got about 15 miles to go. You're going to stop running, or you're going to just try and push through that wall. So it's, oh my God, this is happening to me, but it's, oh my God, how are you going to react to it? Slow and steady wins the race.
There are so many ways of looking at that. Like a lot of times in the work that I do, we always have full autonomy and free will to opt into or opt out of the energy that's in our orbit, the people, place, or thing in front of us that could be triggering or activating us. And to your point, you also have a choice whether you're going to respond or react. And also, if you're open to understanding more about where that landed in you, it gives you an awesome invitation to show where there could be some sticky energy of something that landed for you. Like there's a reason that activated you. And if you're in a mode where you want to be angry about it, you will.
Yep.
And it'll keep happening because we call in the energy that we put out. So I love the analogy of the, what did you spill? And like, what do you already have in your cup? Because having an awareness, first of all, of what's already in your cup is monumental in not only running your own business or creation, but like, especially at what I'm calling like the fever pitch of humanity right now. Yeah. It's amazing to have awareness of what's inside you.
I'm just excited because I think right now we're in a time that women have now gotten fed up. Mm. Women really are amazing creatures. As I like to say, we're the OGs of multitasking. They've been doing it forever. And right now, the energy that I feel out there around women like you and other women I've talked to, Erin Gallagher, the founder of Hyped Women and the Fairway Dinners and stuff, and all these incredible women that I've met in the last year, is just, there's this energy that is just getting ready to explode. Mm-hmm. And I have always said that women lift up economies. We always have. Yeah. We always will. And I'm excited for this election. I'm excited to see Kamala in the position that she's in and how many women are just there for her. And even the men that, these men who realize, hey, this isn't right. There's men out here who actually love women and they care about us and they want to see us excel. And a lot of them know that we are the ones that hold we're the glue. We hold everything together, whether it's at home, even at work. If you go and look at the stats, women CEOs, companies actually do better than companies that are run by male CEOs. The stats are there. We get pushed back to the side like we're too emotional, hysterical, whatever they want to call it. But the thing is that a lot of times what comes out of us is sheer frustration and anger because we're not taken serious. And right now in this country, the top entrepreneurship is being done by women, whether they're seniors are a huge part of it. Then you have younger women who are starting their own businesses. They don't want to work for somebody else, and they're intelligent enough and just have the energy and the wherewithal to go for this. And I understand how they're feeling, because there were days on my job that I worked with 99.9% men. And I am telling you, I have been called everything but a child of God on certain days. And it's this feeling of just the lack of respect, the fear that these men have around you, that you have to try and make them comfortable on the job when you're not even comfortable on the job, right? So I understand these women wanting their own thing. I get it, because I don't think we should treat people a certain way because of their gender, because of their skin color. Of course, me being a woman of color, it's like, and I grew up interracial back in the 60s, for Christ's sake. That was just unheard of in my little town. And so the thing is that women are in a position right now to do great things. And I think it's going to make this country so wonderful. So wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm just excited about it.
I'm so excited too. And what I see happening is, and you know me, I'm going to talk about energy. There's divine feminine and divine masculine. We all have both. Mm-hmm. And what I see happening in this tipping point or fever pitch is many humans, and primarily women, are on the front lines of ushering back in the divine feminine.
Yes.
As we do that, to create the balance we've never seen in this life, the toxic masculine is going to get louder and get more unsafe and insecure. And so I don't know what that ultimate tipping point will be. It's all about, like I said, it's the creating the balance that we've never seen. So it seems unfamiliar, looks unfamiliar to so many people. And I want to make room for all humanity. So there's something I say, it's like, I want to burn it all down and make sure everybody gets out safely. It's kind of like my vibe.
And I mean, I understand that. I understand exactly what you're saying. But I think one of the things that men need to understand, it's not against you.
Right.
It is not against you. It's that we just wanted to be treated as you're being treated, that we have a brain. I mean, how many women out here have degrees and you're sitting at home raising kids, and there's this part of you that can get lost. And don't get me wrong, my mother was a stay-at-home mom, and I used to thank her all the time when I became an adult, because I loved those lunches. I would come home to those lunches. If I fell, I could go home to her. I knew she was there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had to call a job. And I thanked her for that, because my mom was brilliant. She was just brilliant. I learned a lot of things from her. And she was one of those women that just could have been, she could have blazed some trails. That's the kind of woman she was. And I'm sure there's a lot of us out here who have mothers like that, who stayed at home and took care of us and made sure we were the little firecrackers that, they couldn't be because of the times. And I remember my mother telling me that there was a man in town. I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He was a farmer, because there was a lot of farmland when she was coming up, and he wanted to give her this farmland. But at that time, you had to have your father sign, or even if you were married, your husband had to sign. And he did not want her father's name on anything that belonged to her. And I'll never forget, he said, I cannot give it to her because I do not want him to have it. Because he was a philanderer. He would, spendthrift. He would just do whatever. He wasn't a good person. I never got a chance to meet him, but from what my grandmother and my mother told me, he wasn't a good person. But, so because of that, here's a woman that could have been so much more with money and owning property and all this stuff, but she couldn't because she was a woman. And they said she wasn't capable of handling this without a man's authority or permission or whatever you want to call it. I think it's bizarre. And when we do go back and look at in the 1970s, women couldn't even have a credit card.
No, we couldn't own a business until 88. And I feel like I have this conversation all the time with well-intentioned men.
Mm-hmm.
This what about us vibe. And it's not about excluding men. It's about uplifting women.
That's all. And that's all it is.
That's like period.
That's all it is.
I even made a shirt. It's not about tearing him down. It's about lifting her up.
Exactly. And that's the honest to God.
That's it.
That's the honest to God truth.
Max, as we start to wind down, what would you say to the people that are like, what about the men as it relates to your line?
Well, my thing is, I'm not here to make any clothes for men because you have a lot of clothes out there. You have a lot of options. Women do not. I'm not going to say never, but right now it's not about trying to give men more options. It's trying to give women, two options? Right. We need these things for our non-traditional jobs, and more women today are doing non-traditional jobs than ever before. And we've always had to wear men's clothing. It just didn't fit well. So no, I'm not here to do, anything for the men right now. And I want this to be very clear. There have been amazing men in my life who have gotten me to this point. And it started with Larry Cooper, who ended up wanting me to be a carpenter to work in the trade show industry with him because we became fast friends when I was modeling on a booth for Anheuser-Busch and he was their consultant. Scott Martinez, who allowed me to work with his company as a carpenter who really didn't have the skills, but I was willing to learn and I was a quick learner and he allowed me that opportunity. My friend Jean-Paul Thomas, who is tech, who just has been mentoring me for the last 20 years. I've had Frank Libby, who was my president, and he was the regional council president until his retirement a couple of years ago. If that man had never said, hey, do you want this position as steward? I probably wouldn't have lasted because I had really jacked my knees up. I mean, I'm sitting here with a knee replacement. And then my husband is saying, hey, you can do this. So there's men in our lives who are just absolutely amazing and give us these chances. And even sometimes we bump heads, but we don't go out and, go for the jugular every time we have an argument. I have one guy, Ronnie Ligamari, hated his guts some days that we were arguing so much, but I learned a lot from him and I love him to death to this day. So, we're not here to destroy men at all. It's like you said, we're just trying to uplift women.
That's it. And both can be true and let them be true.
Yes. And I just want to give women options to have clothes.
Yeah.
For work. That's it.
Max, where can we find you?
Well, GottStreetBlues.com will be up shortly. I had to change the website from one platform to another. And we have some pretty cool trade t-shirts that you can pick up there and stuff. So that'll be up. I think it should be up by mid-October. And then you can see me on Facebook. It's my Gott Street Blues Facebook page. I have an Instagram. I'm also the boomer of TikTok. Sometimes I put some things on there. So that's how you can find me on social media on those 3 platforms.
I'm going to have to learn TikTok from you. Closing remarks as we wrap up.
I just want people to understand that as women, we are valuable to society. We are valuable to ourselves. We will always be that glue to humanity to make things work. Do not make us third-class citizens. Do not think we are trying to overtake the planet and all that stuff. We're just human beings who want to be treated fairly and want to be given the same opportunities that men are given. That's it.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you allowing me to do this and get my story out there. Thank you.